Welcome to VAR India News Hour. The global growth forecast for 2022 to cut 3.5% amid Russia-Ukraine war. The report on global economic growth forecast for 2022 has downwardly revised from 4.4% in February to 3.5% in April 2022. The survey says that this decrease is due to deepening supply chain disruptions, vaccination inequality and higher inflationary pressures amid the Russia-Ukraine war. The global geopolitical tension is increasing the risks involved with investment and trade as well as causing fluctuations in consumer demand. Further, prolonged conflict between Russia and Ukraine will continue to impact global growth in terms of production, trade and employment. Major economies will continue to adopt tighter monetary policies to tame inflationary pressures amid rising oil and natural gas prices. The global data has revised its forecast for real gross domestic product growth in most regions 0.5 percent points for Asia Pacific, 6.5 pp for East Europe, 0.7 pp for Western Europe and 0.5 pp in North America. The report anticipates that the Asia Pacific region will be the fastest growing region in 2022 with its real GDP growth rate forecast at 4.2%. This is followed by the Middle East and Africa, that is MENA region, with 4.1%, North America with 3.4%, Africa with 3.4%, West Europe with 3.3% and Latin America with 1.9% and East Europe with minus 2.9%. India and China are forecast to grow by 7.7% and 4.5% respectively in 2022. Despite the risks and the expected slowdown in economic growth, India and China are expected to drive global growth. Other countries such as Vietnam, Bangladesh, Malaysia and the Philippines are projected to register about 6% growth in 2022. Global inflation is expected to rise to 6% in 2022 from 3.5% in 2021 due to a sharp rise in oil and gas prices, putting an upward pressure on the prices of goods and services. It forecasts that there will be a 6.6% inflation rate for the US alone, which is well above the Fed's long-term target of 2%. Meanwhile, Eurozone's inflation targets of 2% will be exceeded by major European countries in 2022. The Western sanctions on Russia, a leading producer and exporter of crude oil and natural gas, has made oil prices skyrocket, and higher oil prices has had a knock-on effect on overall commodity prices. With mounting inflationary pressures, central banks of major economies have adopted monetary policy tightening measures that might hurt investor sentiment amid the Russia-Ukraine war. On the other hand, COVID-19 vaccine inequality among developed and developing countries will continue to undermine global economic recovery in 2022. While North America and West European countries have achieved COVID-19 vaccination rates of more than 60%, African countries such as Nigeria, Zambia and Kenya have vaccinated less than 16% of their population as of early April 2022. The risk of global economic recovery heightened in 2022 amid the Russia-Ukraine war. Despite households having accumulated huge savings which once invested will drive up economic activity, rising prices are acting as a deterrent to spending. Let's look into today's headlines in VAR India. Suman K. Beri to be the new Vice Chairman of Niti Aayog. The centre announced the resignation of Niti Aayog Vice Chairperson Rajiv Kumar and appointed economist Suman K. Beri for the post. Beri was a former Director General of the National Council of Applied Economic Research from 2001 to 2011. Prior to NCAER, Beri was with the World Bank in Washington DC and his areas include macroeconomy, financial markets and public debt management with a focus on Latin America. He also served as a member of the Prime Minister's Economic Advisory Council, the Reserve Bank of India's Technical Advisory Committee and the National Statistical Commission. Debt trade in India faces probe. India's banking watchdog is examining a lucrative bond trade between banks and insurance companies that swelled in popularity in recent months despite being a regulatory grey zone. Traders estimate that there are currently about 2 trillion rupee of debt linked to such trades. Scrutiny from the Reserve Bank of India raises the risk that tighter rules may be imitated to regulate the structure. Lenders, including Citigroup Inc., Standard Chartered plc, and JP Morgan Chase and Company, have been buying long-tenor sovereign bonds that they then agreed to sell to insurers at a specified price after about 5 years in a forward contract. Government to raise around rupees 30,000 crores through LIC IPO. Life Insurance Corporation of India had to cut its valuation estimates to 300 billion rupees after getting feedback from investors. India's largest domestic financial investor is now valued at around 6 trillion rupees. Earlier government estimates had called for the insurer to be valued at around 17 trillion rupees. The government plans to sell a stake of just over 5%. The IPO is likely to be launched in the first week of May. Samsung launches its Galaxy M53 5G in India. Samsung Galaxy M53 5G has been launched in India. The handset features a 108-megapixel quad rear camera setup and runs on Android 12 out of the box. It packs a 5000 mAh battery with support for 25W fast charging. The smartphone sports a 6.7-inch Super AMOLED Plus display with a 120Hz refresh rate. Samsung Galaxy M53 5G price in India starts at Rs 23,999 for the 6GB plus 128GB storage model, while the 8GB plus 128GB variant is priced at Rs 25,999. The smartphone will go on sale starting at 12 p.m. on April 29th via Amazon, Samsung's official website and retail channels. AWS Log4Shell hot patch vulnerable to privilege escalation. According to Palo Alto Networks research, an AWS hot patch released last year to address the Log4Shell vulnerability is vulnerable to privilege escalation and container escape vulnerabilities. Log4Shell is a critical vulnerability affecting popular Java logging framework Log4j2. The flaw enables threat actors to easily and remotely execute malicious code against organizations with certain configurations. Amazon's first hot patch for AWS was released last year. It migrated both the Log4Shell vulnerability and a related denial of service flaw. However, issues with the hot patch left vulnerable AWS customers exposed to privilege escalation and container escape bugs. That's all for now. Please like, share, comment and subscribe to VAR India News Magazine. You can download the VAR India app from Google Play Store and Apple App Store for the latest news and updates. Stay tuned. Thank you.